Good morning, everybody. My name is Padraig Lyons, and I'm here to introduce you to the second day of the Speedier training event. So we'll have a fairly interesting program this morning. A lot of speakers, a lot of interesting speakers, which will give us additional insights into how Speedier works and the benefits of Speedier for SMEs who look to engage with the Speedier service. The session, just to point out, is being recorded. Please make sure your microphone is muted while the speakers are speaking. Of course, if you're speaking yourself, you unmute. Please use the chat function in Teams to enter your questions, and we want to have plenty of questions for the speakers so that we can understand a little bit better about where they're coming from and understand where the challenges and barriers to the adoption of Speedier are. And this is, as I said, this is an interactive session, so please participate in our polls. Just to give you an overview, the first speaker is going to be Padraig O'Reilly at 10:05, and he's going to talk about funding options for energy efficiency. Following that, we're going to have some guest SMEs who are going to talk about their experiences of Speedier and how they got on. Question and answer session between 10:55 and 11:10. Our second session will be our second series of sessions will be the Speedier Energy Support Tool, and that will be given by Deanna Romu, followed by a presentation on the Speedier mobile app from Ruchi Agarwal from the IRC. And then the final talk will be from myself regarding impact analysis. And that's from 11:50 to 12:05. We'll have a question and answer session then from 12:05 to 12:20, and the event will close then with a few final thoughts for myself. So without further ado, I'll be handing over to my colleague in Speedier, Padraig O'Reilly.
Thanks, Padraig. And welcome everyone this morning to the session. So in session 4, we're going to speak about the funding options for energy conservation measures. And to start with, I can get this thing to work. Bear with me now. Oh, you didn't get control now. Sorry, hold on now. Control was at request again.
Now you have.
Now I have it. Sorry about that. Okay, thanks. That's great, Marisol. Okay, just to begin, I suppose what Speedier is ultimately about, just to recap on that, it's about finding ways to encourage more SMEs to get involved in energy management and energy conservation, and overall to reduce the CO2, I suppose, impact of SMEs across Europe. So to that end, the Speedier project has developed through consultation with various actors in the arena, be they EneRgy auditors, what we would call potential Speedier experts, and the SMEs. We carried out some research in the early days and focus groups, and we developed the Speedier service as a response to that work. And the idea was that we would have a cyclical approach, but to not try to make sure that the SME was encouraged into the process and not daunted by the thought of having to spend, maybe €2,000 on an energy audit, because that would just turn them off, especially smaller companies. So the idea was that we would have this 5-stage process where a lot of work would go into the engagement stage, where we would set out the plans for what we were going to do. But step 2 was very important, that we would for a low enough involvement of the expert, that they would go in and carry out an energy assessment, carry out a basic bill analysis, and very quickly come up with a register of opportunities which could be begin to worked on or to be worked on. And something that was key to the whole process was that we would implement a ring fencing mechanism where savings from no-cost measures would get reinvested back into low-cost measures and into medium-cost measures and high-cost measures. And that would allow us to go through the implementation phase to really get some projects off the ground initially without, hopefully without having to spend any money. But that would then come into a review phase and then repeat the process again, so that we would move up along through from the no cost up along to the higher cost measures. So that the principle in approaching the SMEs was to we found, I suppose, even since then in our piloting activities, that there's a lot of focus on maybe going straight for renewable energy, for photovoltaic systems, this kind of thing. Whereas what we really wanted to do was to get them to focus first on this kind of a pyramid approach. Here are two examples of the approach, where we start off at the bottom and we first of all try to encourage energy conservation. So to stop wastage, to stop leaks, to stop turn off taps, turn down thermostats, turn off switches, just the basic stuff that you don't need any expenditure on. And once you have all of those issues dealt with, so leaking compressor lines, for example, if that hasn't been done, it's one of the first things to do in a manufacturing setting. And once those things are done, you move up into the energy efficiency section, where you're considering investing in new equipment, maybe, or if that's of a higher efficiency class, so that you're getting, you're using less energy to achieve the same result. And only when you have all of that done should you really consider investing money in renewable energy systems, whether they're, there's various types there, whether it's wind or photovoltaic or biomass or even geothermal or whatever. But that's just the principle that we're trying to get across to the SMEs as we engage with them on the ground. And just a visual of the ring fencing mechanism, that we start off here with the no cost measures on the right hand side and move along through low cost measures, mid cost measures and high cost measures. Excuse me. And all the time, I suppose the focus is on helping the SME to develop really robust financial, I suppose, projects that can really stand on their own 2 feet, and that that they're very well analysed, and that the engineering and the technical assessment is very thorough, so that they know that they will actually realise these savings. Because as we learned yesterday, and as we know from experience, that the payback in SMEs, the payback that companies are willing to tolerate is generally very low. So with that said, there are other soft benefits that accrue to SMEs for going on the energy efficiency journey. So there's, whether it could be a multinational client of theirs who's going to demand that they have that they're showing that they're making progress in energy efficiency in relation to the climate change problem. So there will come a time when payback won't be the only decision, it won't be the only factor in making the decision. And this session I'm going to speak about now is kind of, as we move along into the mid cost and the high cost measures, that savings that have accrued from the lower cost measures and which have been put to one side, there will come a point where they are not enough on their own to finance the project. So external funding is going to be required. So we're going to have a look, just an overview of the 4 pilot regions. So we have Romania, Spain, Italy and Ireland, and I'm just going to give a presentation on the funding options that are available in each of those regions. So I'll start off with Ireland, and our national funding options come mainly from three sources. We have the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, Enterprise Ireland, and then local enterprise offices. So these are all, I suppose, organisations in the public realm, and they serve different purposes. The Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland is I suppose the implementation wing, if you like, of the government's climate and energy plans that are related back to national targets and to EU targets. Enterprise Ireland are an organisation that are tasked with kind of developing business in general, and as part of that, in supporting those businesses, in multinationals as well as homegrown businesses, they have a focus on helping with energy efficiency and environmental management as well. And then we have one example of a local, so bringing it down to the more regional, local areas, we have an example of a scheme run by local enterprise offices. So to start with, I've gone too far there. Within Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, there are a number of schemes, so they've quite a wide range of activities, and these are some of them. So we have the Exceed scheme, which is kind of a master plan for energy management for a particular site. It looks at the energy balance for the site, and it's a long-term engagement. There's the support scheme for renewable heat, which is aiming at promoting the biomass industry, and it also provides support for larger scale heat pump installations. The energy efficiency obligation scheme is something that is, I suppose, aimed at the energy providers into the marketplace. So the large energy providers have an obligation to be responsible for energy efficiency measures across the country, and there's an energy credit scheme in play there. The accelerated capital allowance scheme it probably shouldn't be on this slide. It's more to do with the revenue department, and it's to do with investments in energy efficiency. The capital spend on those can be offset against income tax on profits for that year. A new scheme which is very close to the Speedier approach is the support scheme for energy audits, and this is just a recently launched scheme by SEAI, where they provide a voucher to SMEs, which will cover the engagement of an energy auditor or an expert to come in and do the initial work, which is very, very much in keeping with what we've been doing with Speedier. And then there are some more specific kind of project assistance grants and energy contracting. These are kind of like for one-off projects. If people come to them with a specific project, that they can get some assistance in this regard. And then finally, the Better Energy Community Scheme has been running for a number of years, where it's encouraging businesses and communities and residences to come together as a large project, and there's grant funding available. So I'll be going into some of these in a bit more detail, just to give a bit more background on them. So to start with the Exceed program, it's there's quite a lot of potential grant support there. It's up to $1 million per project is potentially available. The process involves getting an Exceed expert involved. There's a design stage where the whole Speedy or the Exceed program is explained to the SME, and the expert then will do an assessment of the energy requirements of the site, and to identify investment opportunities, I suppose, in a holistic way, to look at the whole site from start to finish. So the eligible expenditure for implementation of Exceed projects is up to 50% of grant funding, and these include incremental capital costs, and also then they cover the professional services associated with implementation. So there's more, obviously, information available on SEAI's website for this. The Better Energy Community Scheme is aimed at retrofitting buildings and other energy efficiency upgrades. So the kind of measures that are supported are building fabric upgrades, technology and system upgrades, control systems, integration of renewable energy. Typically that will come in the shape of maybe heat pumps or PV systems. And there's in the domestic scenario that they look at providing a deep retrofit, a complete solution for a house to maybe increase it by at least two stages in the energy rating process. And in some cases, single building demonstration projects are considered. So I suppose projects are up to 220,000, but there's also this I suppose a slight drawback at the moment. I know that there's efforts being made to deal with this, but it runs on a 12-month cycle. So projects have to be finished by kind of the middle of October and signed off. So there is quite a lot of pressure on the industry to deliver within this scheme. But there are attractive grants available, 30% for private and public sectors and between 30 and 50% for non-profit organisations. So again, this scheme has been running for 5 or 6 years at this stage, so it's been very successful. And then this new scheme, the support scheme for EneRgy Audits, is for SMEs. It provides up to a €2,000 voucher for the cost of professional services, EneRgy auditing services. There are eligibility criteria, in relation to tax compliance and registration within Ireland, and that the auditors then must be on a list of registered auditors. And then SEI support those auditors in providing, templates and reporting structures so that there's a consistent approach here. And I suppose, it's also an opportunity for SEI to get some information, some real data back from the companies involved, so that they can see the kind of measures that are more likely to be carried out by companies. So if we then move on to Enterprise Ireland, there are 3 schemes offered by Enterprise Ireland that we're going to just have a quick look at here today: the Green Start, Green Plus, and then the Climate Action Voucher. So the Green Start is, I suppose, it's to provide assistance in covering the cost of hiring a consultant or a trainer. It's really to look at short-term in-company assessments, to provide guidance and assistance in things like providing an environmental management system, looking at sustainable energy and how that can align with national plans and frameworks, looking at life cycle assessment and circular economy. So the maximum funding available is €5,000, and there's, it's probably just to get companies up and going on the kind of the environmental circular economy, and within that, energy can be part of that. So it doesn't provide grant assistance for projects as such. It's more about training and planning. They can then move to the Green Plus, which is a more extensive initiative, but again, it's for over a longer period of time. Typically for 12 months. The eligible activities include developing a comprehensive climate change and sustainability plan, and aligning that to the international standards and frameworks. So again, it's about planning and training, and support is there for covering the cost of advisory services, and there are some grant funding available then once the planning has been completed and eligible projects have been identified. So there, the final sentence, that the grant funding for 50% of eligible project costs up to a maximum of €100,000, which means 50,000 of a grant. So there is some significant grant support available in this scheme. And then finally, from Enterprise Ireland, we have the Climate Action Voucher. So it's again trying to help to focus on what does sustainability and climate action mean to your business. So it's provided access to up to 2 days independent technical and advisory services, a voucher that covers those advisory services to the operation of the business from an approved service provider up to a value of €1,800. And the service provider could provide advice on things like resource efficiency, the potential for renewable energy, introduction to corporate sustainability, and introduction to circular economy thinking. So finally then, for Ireland, we have the local enterprise offices, and we've just picked one example here, the Green for Micro program. Again, it's looking at this idea of what does sustainability and climate action mean for your business. There are 2 main stages for this. The first stage is kind of to watch a webinar, and that the employees or the personnel within the organisation, within the company, within the smaller companies, obviously with the micro focus, at a regional, local level, so that they can learn about the kind of green and micro supports that are out there, and then they can apply for 2 days of mentoring with a specialist green consultant. So this will include, I suppose, again, this isn't just about energy, it's about all kind of environmental and sustainability, circular economy kind of things. But energy will generally, that it is within that context that energy will be looked at, and that's been our experience in dealing with the SMEs, that it's maybe the environmental health and safety officer who's looking at resource efficiency, maybe emissions from a site. They will also be tasked with looking at the energy impact of their business. So that's it for the initiatives that we've identified for Ireland. So I'll just move on now to Italy. So our colleagues then in Polimi in Italy have provided this overview of the different schemes that are available in Italy. So there's a general tax deductions scheme that's to encourage the uptake of energy efficiency. We have Conto Termico 2. We have the National Energy Efficiency Fund, white certificates, and then the Eco Bonus and Super Bonus, which goes up to 110%, which is a very interesting initiative. So we just pick a couple of these to go through in more detail. The tax deductions for energy requalification of buildings. So again, it's to say that it's just in providing tax deductions to support work in upgrading a building energy rating. So that hence the idea of the energy requalification. Covering interventions on the building envelope, maybe replacement of the winter air conditioning or heating systems, and then considering installation of solar panels useful for the production of hot water. The deduction rates, then there's various different rates for the different measures there, from 50, 65% and 70, 75% for the more, I suppose, difficult ones, such as installations on the building envelope. So, it's quite a detailed scheme, and it's I suppose coming in from 2020 there. So next option we look at is Conto Termico 2, so in force since 2016, providing initiatives for interventions to increase energy efficiency and the production of thermal energy from renewable sources. So it covers, the beneficiaries can be from public administrations, companies or private individuals, and quite a very large budget at 900 million euro per annum. Of that, 200 million is allocated to public administration and also some housing associations. Access can be directly, the funds can be accessed directly by the subjects or through ESCOs. And from the launch in January 2021, there have been, very impressive 361,000 requests for a total of 866 million. So that's, almost the full allocation of funds has been applied for, which is very, very impressive. And for then looking at the private individuals, 228 million was carried out in 2020. In 2020, interventions carried out by public administrations amounted to 74 million out of 200 million. So not the full uptake of the budget there in that category. The super bonus at 110% is a very interesting one. Again, launched in 2020. It was to try and improve the efficiency of Italian housing stock, and also to support the construction sector, which had been affected badly by the pandemic. So the incentive consists of a 110% deduction. So essentially, the costs plus 10% can be deducted from for the relevant costs. And to enjoy this increased rate, it is necessary to carry out at least one. So there's the idea of a driving intervention and a towing intervention. So the driving interventions are the kind of the ones that, are I suppose more difficult to undertake, but still they have a very big impact. So, for example, the thermal insulation on the building envelope, which is more difficult and challenging, but has a very significant impact. Replacement of the heating systems, maybe by going to centralized systems, so individual systems replaced by a central or district heating system. Substitution of thermal systems, so basically from fossil fuels maybe to something like heat pumps. Furthermore, in this scheme, the other toad interventions, or I suppose the master-slave idea perhaps, that such as replacement of windows, sunscreens to prevent overheating, photovoltaic systems, and so on, and batteries and other types of storage systems. So this deduction rate of 110 also applies to these toad interventions. And I suppose once this has been signed up to, it's very important to note that the improvement of 2 energy classes is needed. So you must jump up from maybe a D to a B or whatever to go, whatever the starting point is, you must increase by 2 energy classes. So now we just move to Spain, and here we have the funding options are coming from 2 sources. So we have EDI, which is a national body attached to the Ministry for Ecological Transition and Demographic Change. So they're part of the Spanish government based in Madrid, and their scope is to help to achieve the country's objectives in improving energy efficiency, and the adoption of renewable energies and other low carbon technologies. So EDI carries out dissemination and training activities, provides technical advice, and helps in the development of programs, and ultimately provides funding to projects as well. So they're as I say, they're centralized, but they operate in the 17 regions of Spain, providing funds to those regions to help with these activities and to fund projects. And so they would work in conjunction then with the regional body here in Andalusia. So our partners in Spain are based in Andalusia. So we have the Junta de Andalusia is the regional organization that is tasked with carrying out these activities. So EDI is responsible, I suppose, for providing the lines of aid for investments in renewables and energy efficiency. The calls for funding are currently open. Grant funding for projects that are focused on renewable energy or renewable thermal systems. It's a combination of national funds, but also European regional development funds, and the 316 million euros is the budget, I suppose, for this grant. Beneficiaries are individuals or public and private companies who wish to take out grant funding to carry out projects. And then coming to the more regional level, we look at the Junta de Andalusia. The 3 programs that we look at here are the Building Energy Rehabilitation Program, the packages of measures for energy efficiency in industry, which I suppose is very relevant to Speedier, and then also the aid for transport and mobility. So the energy rehabilitation of existing buildings, this is a program that provides support to citizens, groups, companies, public entities, budget of 49.3 million. The specific actions that are supported are improvement of energy efficiency of thermal envelope, improvement of energy efficiency of and adoption of renewable energies and thermal installations for heating and air conditioning, refrigeration, ventilation and hot water, and then the improvement of energy efficiency of lighting installations. So buildings must date from before 2007. And have at least one of the following uses. So the incentives for interventions in the overall building are incentives for interventions in one or more dwellings or premises in the same building, which are considered parts of the building. Then the packages of measures for energy efficiency in industry. So we call for incentives under the Royal Decree, investments from 25,000 euros in companies that are considered to be either SMEs or large companies. And this scheme has approved the extension of the application period for National Efficiency Program of SMEs. And it's currently there until June 30th of 2023. And finally, then for Spain, we look at the aid for transport and mobility. So a program that contributes to the decarbonisation of transport. It's got a budget of 71 million euro. It's open to a wide range of potential participants, and it's looking at the acquisition of plug-in electric vehicles and fuel cells, or the installation of vehicle charging infrastructures. And since September 20th of 2021, the deadline for submitting applications for these actions is now open. And it remains open until right all the way to the end of 2023, or if the funds are exhausted before then. So our final country to look at is Romania. Our partners there have identified these 5 programs as under the national funding options. So we have. I'm just going to give you the acronym. So we have FREE, and we have POC, POR, EEA, and AFM. So these are 5 schemes that are currently up and running. We're going to look in a bit more detail at FREE and at the EEA, which is looking at the Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway grant scheme. So the Fondul Roman pentru Eficiența Energetică, basically for companies with private and public capital, the main priorities are to look at greening of transport fleets, greening of buildings, adoption of smart grid and smart metering, energy storage, looking at the modernization of technological processes, so looking at basically replacing equipment with more energy efficiency equipment. So that again goes back to our idea of the energy pyramid. So, the first couple of steps can be regarded as looking at reducing usage or reducing waste, and then we start to look at improving energy efficiency of equipment, and then moving on into the integration of renewable energy production in the processes, so that's following that kind of logical approach that we've identified earlier in the energy pyramid. So looking to add high value investments to encourage low energy consumption. And then the other scheme that we looked at for Romania is the adoption of the EEA and the Norwegian grants. So I suppose it's a kind of a reducing the economic and social disparities within 15 countries in Central and Southern Europe and the Baltic states, and it operated for the period 2014 to 2021 with a fund of 2.8 billion allocated. So the funds granted to Romania are allocated to 12 programs, with 3 being of interest to energy efficiency and SMEs. So we're looking at energy, business development, and environment. And here we could just have provided some of the details for the partners that are involved and the kind of budgets that are looking at, for example, 62 million in energy, 45 million in business development, and 23 million in environmental issues. So we can see that the energy one was very well funded in this scheme. So that's really that's our quick overview of the main schemes that have been identified. So I suppose it's just to, these slides will be available to you afterwards, and it just gives you a starting point. Really, I think it's important then for those of you in the different countries to investigate them in more detail. But we just wanted to provide an overview of what's available. So if you have any questions, we'd be happy to take them through the chat window. And I think now maybe my colleagues are going to start off with the Mentimeter and some other questions just to get the discussion going.
I think actually, Pádraig, I think we'll probably be going to the guests first.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll be doing the Menti, I think, yeah?
Okay, grand job.
I know you were probably too excited to get to it.
I know, yeah. I couldn't wait.
Couldn't wait. So,
that's grand.
So we're going to have we're going to have some people who've participated in the project from an SME point of view, and they're going to share some of their experiences of Speedier over the next few minutes. So without further ado, we're going to, oh, sorry, I have to request control. Yes, Brian McEntee is going to be our first presenter, and he's from St. Ola Irish Goat's Cheese. So over to you, Brian.
Hi, good morning, everyone there. I just need to request control here, I think. Give me the slides. Oh, I don't know where my slides are. Okay, so let me just, hang on, okay.
If you just request control there up on the top, Brian.
Yeah, I have requested control.
And click on your slide, Brian, and then the very smallest of movements to move it then.
Yeah.
Click on what?
Just click into the slide that you have shown there. Just click the screen, and then that's it. So very small movements will go from one side to the next.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Oh, where am I now? Just to talk to you about the Speedier project that we've been involved in here in Ireland, in County Clare. We are St. Ola Goat's Cheese. We produce goat cheese here, and you can visit our website at www.stola.ie. Just to start with some information about the company. So we produce goat cheese here in Ina in County Clare on the west coast of Ireland since 1999. We're a small production facility with 7 employees. We've been a member of the Byrne Ecotourism Network since 2012, and we won the Lonely Planet Best in Travel Award 2021 for community tourism, which was big for us. In 2019, we produced 35 tons of cheese from an average herd of 300 goats. So we're quite a small organization, really. Okay. So we got involved in the Speedier process anyway from 2019. So the main reasons the Speedier worked for us were that the energy supports were free. There was no cost to any of this. We got in touch with the lads in LIT, and they kind of came on board and helped us with what we needed. They were able to kind of make where we need to make savings, to make it understandable, and kind of lay it out very clearly with yearly savings and costs for each project we're doing, and what the payback period then for that particular project would be. We did a lot of things like monitoring how much hot water we were using in different areas. We use an ice bank to cool milk, and we put an electricity meter onto that to measure exactly how much electricity that ice bank was using. And we were quite surprised to see it was such a high percentage of what we're using. We could take measures then to reduce the energy usage there. So really what they did was they allowed us to see where we're using a lot of energy, and then to look at ways to reduce that and to make those things more efficient. So from the Speedier project, we worked out that we used 110,789 kilowatts of energy in 2019, and 63% of that was electricity. We do have some renewables on site. We've 20 PV solar panels, and they produce about 5% of our electricity, I think it is. But with the Speedier project, they were able to break all this down for us, tell us what we used and how we used it, really. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the Speedier project, and I gave us an energy breakdown of all the different equipment we used on site. The project was good because they came in and took the time to do this, things that we look at every day but don't really see. So it helped us to find where we use the most energy and to kind of to work on those things. So really, hot water seems to have been a major energy use for us at 27% of the total for the year. And a lot of that is that we use so much hot water for heating, for cleaning milking machines, and for cleaning equipment, which is obviously very important in a food production business. So we have a list now of, this is the list of all the measures identified in the Speedier process. Here you have the costs to implement each project, the energy savings, the carbon savings, and the cost savings per year, and also what it works out at over 5 years. So the change from the boiler to kerosene, from kerosene to LPG, straight away is a yearly saving of €2,000, which is huge for us. It costs about 5,000 to implement it, so the payback on it is quite quick. Okay. So yeah, the impact from the Speedier program really is that we have annual energy savings of 43,000 kilowatt hours, annual cost savings of 4,442, which for us as a really small company, it's massive. We need to make, it adds straight on to profitability, which is so important in a small business. And we also save an annual carbon saving of 13 tons of CO2. So other impacts of the Speedier project for us have been it really reinforced the culture of energy efficiency and use within the enterprise. We got to kind of spend time sitting back and kind of looking at what we're doing and to be much more aware of it, which was very important. It's also, the heating and comfort levels here are much improved. Our market competitiveness has increased substantially because we have managed to reduce our costs considerably. And then now that we've kind of made ourselves much more energy efficient, we are ready to go for more renewable projects. I think we're going to do a bigger project with more PV panels once we kind of settle down from all the jobs we've been doing with the Speedier project. We're kind of ready to go on from there. I think that's most of what I have to say to you. If anyone has any questions, we would be more than happy to answer them.
Thanks, Brian, very much. I think we'll probably keep the questions to the Q&A session afterwards. Thanks very much, Brian. That was excellent. So next person who will be speaking will be Simone Fedeli from VESTA. I think I've got that right, Vesta. Over to you, Simone.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. I'm Simone Fedeli. I am the CEO of Vesta. That is an Italian-based company that deals with energy efficiency services and offers the market engineering and technical advisory. Just a second. Okay. What about Italian small businesses? Italian small and medium-sized enterprises are characterized by being very focused on the core business and have a very flat organization. Typically, the owner makes the decisions and prefers for free solutions for investments in not core activities. They are also characterized by lack of skills in energy and energy efficiency, so they make a strong use of external advisors and consultants. Thanks to the collaboration and the support of the Polytechnic of Milano, our company adopted an innovative approach and model with some of its customers and introduced this technique in an experimental level to test the approval of the market. And we proposed to our customers, several customers, a mixed model contract. With this, I mean that for what concerns the monitoring systems, we have proposed a temporary solution with a monthly costs. It's a kind of pay-per use. While for the advisory and consultancy part, we proposed a business model in which the client have to achieve energy savings goals. Otherwise, he have to pay a greater amount of our fee. And that was a strong incentive for the customers to execute the action plan for energy efficiency interventions. We adopted the ring fencing model, and at first we installed the monitoring systems. We trained employees. And then we performed the energy audits and assessment because of we acquired the data to draw our baseline. This is a draw of the monitoring systems. As you can see, there was a pre-existing photovoltaic system in this business case, and we have put some meters to the electrical panels of particular areas or machines and to the gas meters. Then, for step 3, we have drawn up a list of energy efficiency and renewable interventions ordered by increasing costs. We presented this table to the customer to illustrate the path he should have followed for the investments. And as you can see, our suggested and scheduled interventions were on the photovoltaics, pre-existing PV plant, aspiration systems, indoor lighting, and compressed air systems. What about step 4 and step 3? We performed monthly measurements with the monitoring systems with respect to the baseline. We proceeded with the calculation of the energy savings for the payment of our fees and accumulation of the customer's share in savings that was then necessary to carry out subsequent investments. This slide shows how the list we provided to the customer was respected. Final results and our conclusions. The customers both liked the contractual form and the ring fencing model. Didn't respect the order of the interventions, because he decided to move from an increasing costs criterion to a payback time criterion. That was really important for us. Didn't perform all the interventions, and above all, he paid the energy expert consultancy's fees. That's all. Thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Simona. That was excellent. So we'll just move quickly on to our next speaker, Alejandro Quijano. I hope I do the justice to the pronunciation, from EneRgy Energia. Okay, so over to you, Alejandro.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you to CTA for this kindly invitation. The building, yes, the building we have energy audited in the frame of this project is the Italian Pavilion. It's an office building for renting. This building was constructed for the Universal Exposition in Seville in 1992. And as I said before, it was used as the Italian Pavilion. 1999 was adapted for a use as an office building. This adaptation is significant from the point of view of our energy audit, as it was not conceived from the beginning for the use as an office building, as I said. Well, this picture of the energy simulation and some data. This building has 13,000 about 13,000 square meter, and it has only one energy consumption, is electricity, about 2 million kilowatt hour a year. And now is they use it for renting it's rented to about 20 different companies. It's almost full at the moment. And this data gives us some ratio. It's 160 kilowatt hour per square meter and year. I think this ratio should say something to us from the point of view of if it is a high consumption, it's low, with the potential saving we can expect from this. I miss some more information about this kind of ratio. At the moment, I think there is just one ratio. It's called the 30% rule, that says that after any energy audit, you have to save 30% of the consumption. And if not, it doesn't worth it. Making an energy audit requires a lot of information about the building. We can see some pictures about the windows, the walls, construction solutions. We have to manage information about the pumps, the air conditioning system, electrical information, lighting, and so on. We can also have information about the use of the building, no? The invoice of the electricity consumption, all the energy supplies, but in this case, just electricity. Some measure we can see here the temperature of one of the company during 1 week. In the center of the picture, more or less, we can see the weekend where the system is lower than the rest of the week. More information that we need, no? The load curve, information that gives us the energy meter from the electric company, fan coils, lighting information about all the light pumps, So we need a lot of information to, we have to work out all this data to obtain useful information. At the moment, it's just data. We have to create useful information for our client or the building, the consumption profiles, and the potential energy saving elements that we can find in the building. This process combines theoretical estimations with energy simulation, and then we have to compare all of them with the data of the energy supply invoice to be sure that all data is consistent. So when we have a consumption profile, we can have the certainty that that's correct. In this case, so at the moment we have a lot of work done, but very low add value for our clients. We have developed a lot of graphics. We can distinguish which part of the consumption is destined to air conditioning, which to lighting the building, which part to other uses. In this case, there are 20 companies. Each company have its own energy meter and so on. We can distinguish here what is which is the property of each of these companies. You know? So we can see that more or less in the graphic up left, the orange part is the the blue one. The blue part is what the companies are consuming, and the orange is the rest of the building. So at the moment, a lot of work, but very few add value. No? So I make to myself some questions. I say, how can we reuse this information? Once we have made it, how, if we are going to make another energy audit 2 years later, how can we reuse this information? It would be interesting, in my opinion. After that, we can start with the energy audit as it is. No, where can we find the saving point? No. Once we have identified the potential saving points, we have to estimate how much energy, how many emissions, how much money we are going to save with each action. Also, we'll have to calculate the budget of each action and identify possible troubles we can find during the execution and how to avoid them. So this is a complex and time-consuming work, and any tool developed, as this one in the SPEEDIER program, developed to make it easier will be very well received. And if it's leads to make it reusable, even more interesting in our opinion. So this is what I wanted to tell you in this journey. So thank you very much. And if there is any question, please, I will attend them. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so please put the questions in the chat for our speakers. And if we can move to the next speaker, we have Dragosin, and he's the owner of the Pensuina Carol Hotel in Florești. So, Dragos, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm speaking here based on a double role. First of all, I was a beneficiary of the know-how provided by the agency, the Romanian Agency of Energetic Efficiency and Environment Protection. On the other hand, I aspire to be an expert after all this stuff because I've learned a lot of things and how to. What I did at my pension could be spendable also to other pensions or hotels. So another also to other small and medium enterprises here in Romania. So this is the position. Based on that, I want to shortly expose our situation and what were our solutions. First of all, can I go forward? Yeah. This is a presentation of the image of our pension, which is a small family hotels. It used to have 8 rooms and apartment, and we went forward and closed the 2 terraces at the second floor, and also make the 2 large apartments in the last floor. So we moved from 8 to 12 rooms and apartments, and the final surface increased by 45%. Also, we have a small restaurant, which for the time being is designed for just for the tourists, for closed circuit. But in the next future, we will intend to build up, to open up a large terrace and the restaurant also for the people here in Florești. We have all-season hotel, so we didn't stop even in the pandemic time, and not very much, very numerous staff. For time being, just 2, but when the restaurant will be in force, we'll have 10, plus myself. And you have the data of the climate characteristics and the consumptions of energy, electrical and gas. What we did, we have followed the ECM's procedure. So we have started with no costs ECMs. Then we made small emplacements, low cost emplacements, low cost based on the savings, and then we went forward to make medium cost implementation measures, and I will discuss very shortly about everything. So first of all, we have informed every guest about the importance of saving energy, about towels, about how to shut up the lightning, and also everything. So respecting ourselves and respecting the nature. We have trained the staff, the former staff, the actual staff. Everybody knows that we put a lot of price on this kind of attitude to save energy, to save planet. Okay. Also, we have implemented, it's not written here, we have implemented on the partnership with the mayor here a system of selected waste, and we have noticed that around 75% out of the total waste it's recyclable. So it's plastic, metal, glass, and paper. 75%. So we have reduced the waste, which is also, in my opinion, energy saving at the end of the day, decreasing carbon printing. We have, going back to our measures here based on ECM, we made a very good window insulation and building insulation. When we expanded the building, we improved everything we didn't know how to do in a very nice, best way. So if when we build up the construction, the first version of the pension, we received a B certificate, energetic B certificate. Now after the extended of the pension based on windows insulation and also on building insulation, we received an A certificate and an energetic note of 100 out of 100. So I will show you up. This is the performance. And this is the certification of the energetic efficiency of the building. So we have also we put also a solar panel for the heat for the water heating, and we have we are in a final stage of the process of implementing photovoltaic solar sources system. Also for charging with 27 kilowatts energy disponible, and so we can also generate energy for our auto consumption, give to the grid. It will be an on-grid system, and also if necessary, we can charge 2 electric cars on a special device, which is also integrated in this project, which will come in the next future. So you have here the impacts, the saving of more than 140,000 kilowatt hour per year, and we have the ambition of becoming neutral carbon by the to 2050. So we are very aligned for the time being on this objective. So if you have questions, I will be glad to answer to you. Thank you very much. I want to pass the floor.
Thanks very much, Drago. I think what we'll go to now is we go to the Mentee, Pádraig, if you'd like to take over from here. Pádraig O'Reilly.
Yeah, thank you, Pádraig. Yeah, so if we could encourage you to go to the mentee.com and enter the code there that you see, 426-00420, and we'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then we will put up the question. So Marisol, are you available there to put this up? Yeah, thank you. So in a minute there, we're going to start showing the first question for just to get the conversation going. We have three questions here just to get some feedback from you, the participants. And if you are ready with that code, Rocio has just included it. So the first question, these are open questions, so we'd be very interested to hear from the different participants from different countries. If you could just maybe in a couple of words describe the funding measure that has been most successful in your country or in your region. We'll see what way the Mentimeter can provide the answer to us. So we see, and maybe it would be good if you could just maybe put your country beside that, if it's possible. So we see mixture of government funds. The Exceed program is getting mentioned there from Ireland. Tax deductions and grants. Yeah, implementation of LEDs and aerothermal systems, air to water heat pumps, I suppose. So government grants are mixture of government grants and tax deductions. Very good. So there's a bit of a variety there for different different types of funding. Over here, regional funds. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. So the next question here we say, what has been the, so like we're very interested to know what is encouraging SMEs to get involved in energy management. So, you know, Speedier is just one approach, but what are the main drivers? Is it, you know, I won't say what, but just it would be great to get your input here. We have our own ideas, but if we could get some feedback from yourselves, it would be great. So saving money is the first one up. And then we have the other side of the coin, the green image, you know, so there's the two, drivers. We would like to, I suppose, because it's so difficult to get paybacks for some measures, you know, within a 1 to 2 year period, it's really difficult. It might be more feasible to say 4 or 5 years. So in that sense, it's good if the green image or the needs of customers is a good one there. If they can become a driver as well for involving companies with energy management. But obviously energy cost savings, I mean, if they haven't already addressed the potential for cost savings, if it hasn't been looked at, and I think that's one of the big issues with lots of the SMEs that we've spoken to, that they have never actually focused on this because they don't have the time or maybe the expertise to do so. So the energy service companies bear the cost of the investment. So they're kind of the energy contracting, that the capital costs to some way of getting around that issue, and that if there's a genuine saving to be made, an energy company will come in and maybe have a contract with that company then over a period of time. Here we have again the fast payback is important. Energy savings. Okay, so finally, a quick final question here in this section. So do you think the ring fencing mechanism of Speedier would work in your country? And maybe why? And if you could also just write down which country you come from, would be very interesting for us. But the idea of the ring fencing mechanism is that there's a commitment made that somehow the savings that are made by no cost or low cost measures are put aside in the company's budgeting so that they can attribute some expenditure to projects that are maybe in the low or medium cost. So it's going to vary from company to company how they approach that. And we'd be just keen to see if there would be an appetite for that. So the first comment is maybe a bit disappointing, but interesting nonetheless, that it's not at all attractive to that person in Spain. That's interesting. It would be good to maybe just learn a bit of why would that be. So if the savings are low advantages for experts, okay. Answers are a bit slow for this one. I suppose in our experience, the place that we've seen some big potential has, if they haven't already addressed their contracts with for example, their electricity supplier. So really, I suppose it's maybe a mechanism that's geared towards those companies that have not already engaged with energy management. I think if companies have already done the basics of energy management, perhaps it might be more difficult to establish a ring fencing mechanism because the zero cost and the low cost measures might already be, they've been achieved, you know, the savings have been achieved already. So it would be more difficult in that sense to begin this ring fencing mechanism. So we're getting some good answers here now. So yes, of course, it's logical, provides learnings based on small accountable steps. The SME is involved in the process so they can understand the relationship. Okay, that's good. Good. Thank you for all these inputs. They're very interesting. Yeah, so I mean, again, if we're looking for savings, they want to go to the bottom line. Okay. Okay, I think if there's any further questions, maybe about funding options, we'd like to enter them in the chat, perhaps. I'd be happy to try and answer them. I see there's a question just about just to elaborate on in the case of Ireland for the registered energy audits. I think if it's if the question could be in relation to the new voucher scheme, which I think is really an exciting development. I mean, this is to do with the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, not really Enterprise Ireland. But it's really a recognition of the fact that a lot of these smaller companies, maybe who haven't undergone any energy management or energy auditing, it's difficult for them to take the first step. So this voucher, which is up to €2,000, has the potential to really get them started and up and running on the energy management road. You know, so it's it definitely has been our experience in the piloting activities in Ireland that the fact that we were funded, the personnel from Limerick IT were funded to go in and conduct this survey work and the generation of the register of opportunities, and then to facilitate the company with the specific measures. And the key point is that the measures are very, very specific to each company, that there isn't really the potential for generic measures that could be applied. And they needed a support to do that, whether it's sub-metering and then developing technical solutions for ECMs. So I think there are some other questions that have been going in the question, but they're being answered by the participants here. So I think I'll leave those, Pádraig, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I'd say, Pádraig, in the interest of time, we might move on to Deanna's presentation.
So
what would you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks very much for that. I think that was very useful. Yeah, I think there was some very interesting questions. And I suppose if people can continue to keep putting the questions in the chat, and maybe the experts or Pádraig or myself or someone can answer those questions, and we can do it that way, so we can get as much out of the session as we can. So thanks again for all the questions coming into the chat. And without further ado, I might just hand you over to Deanna. Thanks, Deanna.
Thank you, Pádraig. Hello, everyone. I'm Deanna from ETEC. I think we are almost on time, so I will try to keep the same in this session. We are going to explain today the improvements that we have made on the EneRgy tool. First of all, we have changed the name. We call now EneRgy Expert Support Tool because we thought it was a better name to define it. I'm going to explain just a quick review about ETEC and the role in the project. Then we're going to explain the most important improvements since we launched the beta version a year ago. There has been a lot of small changes, but today we focus on the most important ones. And then we're going to explain how two of these changes have improved the system that the tool involves in the Speedier project. And then we're going online. As you know, the EneRgy Expert Support Tool, it's an online tool. So we're going to make a demonstration of the new improvements. And finally, we will go back to the session, to the presentation, and make a summary. So let's start. ETEC is a private foundation. We are localized here in Barcelona, in Spain. We work in the field of the construction sector. We support innovation and the new technology in the construction sector, and we are all involved with the organizations, the company, and also the professionals in this sector. We have been, during these past years, working on European projects. Here is some of them, just a few examples, as Positive, BIMZ, and Houseful. And we are also working on more of them. One of them is Plural. In this project, ETEC has to contribute to characterization of the SMEs that will help later in the development of the tool. We also have defined the requirements and the database that this tool will include and the design in itself of the tool. And finally, of course, we have developed it. We are going to show you in the presentation the most important improvements. First one, we have copy projects. So we establish one project, we create one, we go to the measures, the implementation, and finally, when the Speedy expert wants to again try to improve new measures, they have to copy, and in that case, they don't have to introduce again all the data. So that will be in project list. You will see later. This the copy projects. Here we in an example when you have made a copy. It's a mother on a daughter, a father on a son, as you want, but it will be always related one with another one. Then we have a gamification, the ranking. It's a new functionality, a new menu. It's a part of the main menus. I will explain it later, but as you guys can see, it's with the other menus. Okay. We also have print because maybe someone wants to print it. The simulations, all of them, not only the simulation that will be applied, no, but on all of them, and also the periodic report. So it will be this formulary to check on that, and you can export in different types of files. And finally, we have lockdown simulations. It can be consulted, but it can be modified on edit. If you want to reopen the simulation you have applied, it will cost you that you will lose every periodic report you have. So it's possible, it can do it, but you have to know that what is the options that you will lose every periodic report. Okay. I will explain the process that involves the Speedier tool. We have the people and the place where they work from the SMEs, and we also have the Speedier experts. For the other side, we have the Speedier, the EneRgy expert support tool. All the information that has been recapped in the EneRgy audit has to come into the Speedier tool. Then the Speedier tool makes his calculations and proposes some measures applying just with this characterization of the SMEs. The expert works with the SMEs and tries to explain which simulation it's better for them, and they agree with the measures they have to apply. They apply them, and that proposes that the application of these measures provides energy and cost savings that it will return to the tool. So as many projects you have, as better will be the tool, and the database it's inside the tool, because we propose now a theoretical data that how the savings will be, but when we are entering real data in the energy and cost savings here from the Speedier expert, the tool will learn that which measures are providing different energy and cost savings. So he will learn and change the proposal data. So it became a better tool. In that case, to help this process, the copy process will help us to know which measures you're applying in each time. So in the first project, we will apply maybe non-cost or low-cost measures, and we know how will be the savings. And then in the second project, in the copy, maybe they will apply some medium measures, and we know which one that are, and we know how the savings are from these measures. And finally, the ranking. We think we will create we want to create a community between the experts and the SMEs to be more involved in energy savings and to create a good place to meet them. So now I'm going to share my screen because I'm going online. Okay. I hope you can see my screen. Here's the main screen from the Speedier tool. And in this second event, we're going to just explain the improvement, but I think maybe there's many of you that you haven't assisted to the first training event. So I'm going just to make a quick vision of all the tool, and then we focus just in the improvements. So that's the main page where you can manage all your projects. You have, as you can see, here's the list. That's the copy from this project. You can create a new project, and you will see all the fields you have to fill. There's a lot of them, but it's easy to complete it. You can create it one. You go back if you don't want to create it one. You can edit also. You can delete it, and that's for copy and print. We explain it later. Here in the top on the left, you have the main menus. That's the project list and project information, the building information, where you enter all the information that you have collected in the EneRgy audit. Then the measures that the tool provides when the Speedy expert could prepare the simulations. And also then when the simulation is applied, they can go to the periodic report. And finally, the ranking. That's the new menu, new functionality we created. So we want to, you have to select the project you want to check. We are going to check now because you will see there's a lot of fields that are on gray. That's because we have closed the building. When you have entered all the data from the building, you have to close it because the program has to make his calculations to propose some measures. So you cannot edit when you close your building. So here is the use details. As you can see, there's the building activity. That's a lot of lists, but you can create it one if you have another type of building. The schedule and profile, that's the hours by day and the days by year that the SME is working. That provides another user schedule that could be changed also. The annual and heating and cooling hours, that's provided by the country and the region that you are proposed or you got established on the project information. And that's changed between every region. It's information, it's a data that's included in Speedy. You have not to enter it, but if you have, you want to change it, it's possible to change it. And then finally, the amount of users. Another submenu of this is the economic data. So that will help us with the cost of the measures and the economical return. Our database is focused in Spain, so the prices are on Spain. So we have reference number 1, but we have proposed different coefficients for all the countries. So when you change, when you try, you select one country in the project information, here will appear here will be shown the related coefficient. You can change it. It's the same with the combustibles. And then at the final, the interest rate. That's the interest charge that will charge you on the loan if you have to borrow some money. Energy contributions, in case that in the building there were some solar panels, you can enter here the saving through that it converted in any fuel type and the percentage of these savings. It's not obligatory to fill this, but if you have the information, it's good to have it. And also the most important part is the building information. Here we have the different parts of the building information, the envelope, and the energy consumption elements. We show you just one of them, the facade that we have introduced here. That's a lot of information, but it's easy to complete because there's information that you only have to select it. As you can see, it's only to select, and then it's on one of these information you have to fill up. That's about the facade, but also we have information about the windows. I'm going to show you just the heating and the cooling example because I want you to see how it works. It's the same, that's a lot of information, but it's easy to complete it in an easy way. And also for the lighting. As you can see, it's everything on gray because it's locked down. Here all information about the lighting. There's another building information to complete, but today I'm not going through this. As you can see here, there's the building information closed. It's on gray because I have applied it, because I want to know the measures. So we're going to the measures. There's different simulations. As you can see, this all the measures that the program, the tool will suggest. That's classified with no cost on black, low cost on green, medium cost on yellow, and high cost on red. So the Speedy expert could select anything, any measure they want, and that provides economical return, energy, and CO2 CO2 estimate savings and the cost of applying these measures. And finally, we have here the total of this application. As you can see, there's one of these simulations applied. So we can go to the periodic report where the SPEEDIER expert joined with the SMEs could enter any data they have of the bills and of the information of the savings of the applying measures. As you can see here, there's applying measures, and here you have the different periods. As you can see, you can add any period you want. You have to establish an initial and a final period, and the combustibles here, you can add some of them. There's a list that you can add or delete anyone you need. So that's the first part. And then we're going to the ranking band. As I said, I'm going to explain first of all the main part, the project list. Here we have the reports that we can print. In this part, you can print any simulation you have or any other, or the period report. You can print one or all of them. Then you can export it. Now I'm going to open it. I show you how's the report. As you can see, here's the measures that you are applying and the data that's provided for this application. Okay. I can show you also periodic report if you want. There's different types of documents. It's a doc, Excel, and PDF. Okay, I go into the periodic report. That's a periodic report. It's the same. That it's measure the different periods, when they start, when they finish, the savings and from cost and energy. And finally, here's the same graph that you have seen on the screen. Okay, we can close this. Okay, that's from the print. Then we have copy. We can copy our project. Have to put a name and a building name. Barcelona. I have done this before. It maybe will take some seconds because, as I explained, it's an online tool, so it takes time. You have to copy everything that is on the first project to the second one, and that's a lot of work to do because the data that's inside the Speedier tool is okay. That's done. As you can see, that appears and will keep related. We can select and see how it's working. So it's related to the first one. Another thing that it's related to the ranking is that it's a new field included in the project information, because you have to agree or not agree to share the non-personal data of the project you are editing to be appear on the ranking. So it has to be clear that it's the non-personal data that will be shown on the ranking. Okay, so you can say yes or no. That's an option. I go back, and then when I explain the ranking, I will explain you how is this important. So the next improvement is the lockdown. As you can see, it's a lockdown here. This simulation is a simulation we have applied. So it's locked down now. If you want to reopen, you have to be sure. I won't do it because we want to go to a ranking. But you have to know if you unlock this simulation, you will lose all the data from periodic report. So that's the message that it's here, because you have to be sure. If you have a lot of periodic report data that we want to keep it, you don't have to open it. So I cancel it. It's for this reason we have the copy version, so we don't have to unlock this simulation. And finally, we go to the ranking. So as I said in the project information, you have to select if you want to share or not non-personal data. So there's two conditions to access to the ranking. The first one is you have to agree, at least in one of the projects you have, to share the information, just in one, but you have to agree. And the second one is that you have to show your project here, you have to be entered at least 2 periods on the periodic report, because in that case, if you don't have it, we don't have enough data to calculate the energy saving achieved. So on the left, as you can see, is that's the energy saving achieved, that's from the periodic report. And then the project ranking, what's your position related to energy saving achieved in the list of projects. Here are the list of projects. There's you can order by name, you can by country, you can change everything of that. Change again, Spain the first time, or you can again go to the first one. There's the project name, the country, the surface, and the activity. That's the fields that you can order. Then you have here the reduction of emissions. And finally, the measures. You can check the measures that have been applied in each one of the projects. So as you can see, this is from this project, and these are the other ones. Also, you can search by field, and I will show you how if you enter in a filter that becomes to show you one or two projects, the program, the tool won't show it, because maybe you can reveal personal data that it's from this, because you know it's only one project that's type of this in the area, on the region. Maybe you will know which one is, and we don't want that. So I will try to show you. There's only one from Spain, so I'm going to search. As you can see, you have applied a number of projects that could lead to disclosure of personal data and will not be displayed. So that's a restriction we have established because we don't want it. And that's all. That's all from the new improvements. Now I'm going to return to the presentation. Okay. Please, thank you. Thank you, Marisol. I'm going to request again. Great. Thank you, Marisol. So that's the main points from this session. It's necessary a good energy audit before you use the energy expert tool, because this is not an energy audit tool. It's a tool that helps the process of the SPEEDIER experts, and it tries to show you and improve the communication between the SMEs. So this tool has to help the expert and has to help the communication between the SPEEDIER and the SMEs. In an easy way, that it was easy to understand for both parts. Then it has to be a follow-up of the application of the measures and the savings. And for that, we can use the copy projects. And also we can add new measures that will be incorporated in the data, in the SPEEDIER data of measures. So if you have any measure that it's not provided from the tool, you can create a new one. And finally, the more projects we have, the more database will enrich, because all the data that it's entered from the periodic record will be returned to the tool. And that's all for my part. If you have any question, please go through the chat. I hope my message was clear. I learned it here yesterday from the session, for the message has to be clear. I think I tried to accomplish it. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Deanna. That was very clear and really informative, and just I think it demonstrates the how many ways that the tool can be applied. We'll quickly move on to Ruchi, my colleague Ruchi Agarwal, and she's going to talk about the mobile app.
Hello all, I'm Ruchi Agarwal and I work with International Energy Research Center, and I will give you a quick overview of SPEEDIER mobile app that we have developed to be used as one of the capacity building tool. So I'll go through before starting the overview of SPEEDIER mobile app. We'll quickly go through the importance of capacity building training for SMEs, as it is one of the it is part of the SPEEDIER service. So the capacity building training helps SMEs to learn the importance of energy assessment and importance of energy metering. The capacity building training helps to develop the energy culture and bring the behavioral changes within the SMEs, and also it helps to understand the energy bills of the organization, which is usually thought to be a very complicated piece of paper. So through the capacity building training, we are trying to help SMEs to understand all of these things, and we are using And we have developed Speedier mobile app as one of the tool to be used by, it is designed to be used by a staff member of SMEs, and this will help to develop the energy culture of within the SMEs. And we are hoping that this app will enable the staff members of SMEs to start talking and start thinking about energy, which is usually not the case of general staff members of SMEs who are not very well versed with the energy management and energy efficiency. So why we have designed a mobile app? So the first thing is the mobile app provides a way of engagement of all these stuffs. Usually people use mobile people use mobile all the time in a day, and this app will help them to learn about energy trend of their organization, and this will help to build an energy culture within their organization. We have tried to develop the app in a way of a game where people can learn about energy management in a fun way, and it helps to provide it helps to provide a way of providing an information to all the SME staff. Usually what happens when an organization tries to provide an information to their staff, usually they organize a training, or they organize a webinar, and they take all the staff away from their daily day-to-day routine, and then this is the usual way. But with the help of this Speedier mobile app, the people can learn about energy, or they can get information in an easy way and their own convenient time when they want to learn. So to keep in mind all these features, we have designed a mobile app, and a gamification feature in the app is a really important feature that we have tried to implement. So why we have tried to why we have used the gamification feature? So first thing is it's engaging. The gamification feature provides a reason or a means for staff to use the app. So like first of when we were designing the mobile app, we were thinking to like why people will use the mobile app when they have lots of app in their phone. Why would they use Speedier app? So we gamification feature is one of the way of engaging them in the Speedier mobile app. The second one is peer connection. It is usually peer connection is a very powerful tool for people to persuade to take action. When we see we are social being, and social proof is a very very thoughtful concept. It's very proven concept where we look at the people, where we look at the action, and we try to take action accordingly. So when you see when your peers have taken the action in the mobile app, when they have used some of the gamification feature in the app, when they have taken part in quiz, when they have provided some feedback and suggestions, so it automatically triggers you to take action in the mobile app. And this mobile app provides a means for people to feel empowered. That means when people feel empowered, when they think their opinion, their suggestions, they are being listened, and any action is being taken on their opinion. So, and further, this encourages people to take more action take more action and take more action and use mobile app frequently. And the next thing is rewarding. This people gets rewarded for their every interaction in the app, and this rewarding feature encourages people to continue using the app. Plus, this gamification feature is very useful. For Speedier Expert and Speedier Champion to know and to learn about the problem areas in their workplace. And apart from Speedier Expert, this gamification feature also helps the staff members to get information about their workplace through the energy monitoring feature, about which I will explain in next slide. So what are the main features of the mobile app? So this mobile app has been developed in a web version and the mobile version. The web version will be very useful for the Speedier Expert and Speedier Champion who would be accessing the mobile app as the administrator of the app. So there will be two different types of account in the mobile app. The first one will be the administrator account and the other will be the user account. The administrator account will be used by the Speedier Expert and the Speedier Champion of the organization. Basically, Speedier Champion will be the person who will be interacting with the Speedier Expert. It could be a facility manager, energy manager of an organization, and the Speedier and the admin account will be responsible for managing the data of the mobile app of their organization. For example, adding or deleting any user in their organization, updating the quiz, updating the energy monitoring information of their organization. And whereas the user account will be the one who will collect all the information and who will basically act in the app. The next feature is energy monitoring, where I'm sorry. When I will give you the demo of the app, you will see we have introduced energy monitoring feature where the staff member of the organization can view the energy monthly and annual energy consumption and cost of their organization, and what is the various energy consumption measures have been implemented in their organization, what are all the energy consuming equipments have been installed in their organization. So these are all energy monitoring features which has been introduced in the app. Plus there is a quiz and reward section, where in the quiz section you will see there is a learning section where people can view, download and learn about energy and the various energy efficiency features and energy management thing. And based on these learning documents, there will be a quiz section where various types of quiz, various rounds of quiz, categories of quiz will be introduced, and where people can undergo the quiz and they will be rewarded for each of their action and each of their correct quizzes. And these quizzes and these learning section could be entirely different for different organization. It could be targeted based on their energy policies, based on their energy management targets. So this is one of the important feature which enables staff member of the SMEs to use the mobile app. And one more important gamification feature is there about feedback and suggestions. So where feedback is a feature where people can provide their feedback. People can raise a complaint about the thermal comfort of their workplace. It helps people. The feedback and suggestion feature helps the SME staff to communicate their thoughts, to communicate their thinking to the upper management or the facility manager of their organization, which usually is it's very difficult. Sometimes it could be very difficult for the staff member to communicate about these problem areas of their working area. So the feedback is as a way of providing a feedback or a problem of their work area. And suggestions, we thought that people who work in the building, who on a day-to-day basis, who observe the working pattern or workflow of their building. They better know about potential energy saving areas and the way to improve the workflow. So this app provides a means for the general staff, for the working staff, to provide a suggestions for various energy saving potentials, and the staff members would be rewarded for their suggestions. So all these features help the SMEs and Speedier expert and Speedier champion to develop and build an energy culture within their organization. So these are the main features of the mobile app, and now we will quickly go through the demo of the app. Marisol, if you could play a video. So I have prepared a quick small video of the app, where for very first I will show you how the general user account will look like. So this is the dashboard, welcome dashboard for the general user. In the left hand side of the screen, you can see where all the functions and all the features for the general user. So first we'll go through the feedback feature. Here a list of feedback will be appear, and these are all feedbacks are provided by a user, and if a user wants to add a new feedback, they can click on this add new feedback button, and they can enter all the information, and they can submit their feedback. So the next is suggestion, where the general staff member can provide energy saving suggestions for their organization. What they have to is they have to just click the add new suggestion button and fill in all the information, and they can submit this suggestion to the admin. In this feedback and the suggestion feature, there is an additional feature have been provided, where a staff, if a staff doesn't want to disclose their identity, they can opt out to disclose their identity. The next is a notification, where a user will receive all the notification if they have received any rewards and any custom notifications shared by admin. This is notification feature. The next is energy management feature, where a user can see details of their buildings, and details of all the types of energy use, and details of various equipments available in their organization. So here we'll first see the energy use. Here user can see various types of graphs and charts for different types of energy usage in their organization, and they will select a date range, and they can see pie chart, line chart, various types of chart. And this is, if we go a little bit back, and here the user can see the list of all the equipments available, list of all the equipments installed in their organization, along with the power rating and quantity of that particular equipment, and the type of energy being used. And also the user can see the list of energy saving measures that have been implemented, that could be and could not be, that could have been implemented and that have been implemented within their organization, along with the cost category and status of the implementation. And the next is where user my profile section, where user can edit any information of their profile. And this is the quiz section, where a user can see various categories of the quiz, various rounds of the quiz, and a user can take a quiz, and they can fill in the correct answers what they feel, and they can see their score. And there are various, the user can see their own best score, and their in the leaderboard user can see their position in their organization. In the quiz history, user can see history of quiz taken by themselves. And here in the learning section, again there's various categories have been introduced, and these learning materials could be entirely targeted for based on their energy policy of the organization, and user can download and view the all the learning materials which have been uploaded by the admin of the account. And finally, in the reward section, user will see a list of various types of reward which have been introduced by the admin. And further, user can see, when clicking on each of the buttons, user can see details of the rewards received by themselves. So this is all about general user account. It's a quiz section, certificate, and various types of rewards for the user. Now we'll quickly go through the administrator account. So again, this welcome dashboard is very much similar to a user account. Here, firstly we'll see the manage feedback feature of the administrator account, where admin will get a notification as any user provides a feedback, and admin will see a list of all the feedback provided by various user, and based on their action taken, admin can change the can change the status of their feedback. Similarly, admin will also get a notification when a user provides a suggestion. Admin can see a list of all the suggestions provided by user, and admin can provide a rating to each suggestion based on their own experience. And after providing the rating, admin can publish the list of suggestions for a monthly voting or a 6 monthly voting to the general staff of their organization. And based on user voting and admin voting, admin can select a winner for the best suggestion of the month. And then the next feature is manage notification. So here admin can create a custom notification that he wants to communicate with the user, and they can publish this notification to the user. The next is manage energy feature, where this feature is very much similar to what we have looked through the user account. The only difference is in the admin account there is a feature of add, delete, and editing any of the information. So here you will see how admin can add a new building information, and admin can delete about the building information of their organization. Similarly, in the energy use, admin can view all the information and various types of charts and graphs. Plus, they can download these data either in the form of PDF or the picture or Word document. And similarly, here is the list of equipment and the list of ECMs. So it is very much similar. Only the admin can only edit and delete. You can see add ECM feature is there, where if a new ECM has been introduced in the organization, admin can add that ECM for the general user to view. So the next is manage user. This is the additional feature which is not there in general user account. In the manage user feature, admin can add a new user of their organization, and if a staff resigns from their organization, admin can delete the particular user account. So admin will be entirely responsible for managing all the user of their organization. And similar to user account, admin can edit certain information of their profile. The next is manage quiz, where admin can add a new quiz, admin can add a new learning section, admin can define various rounds and various categories of the quiz, admin can edit or delete the existing questions. So this is add a new quiz, add a new question to the quiz. Admin can edit the rounds, admin can define the various types of categories, and the next, yeah, and here admin can see the best score of their organization. Now the next is learning section, where admin can delete or add a new material, and this could be either in the form of a Word file, a PDF file, it could be a picture, it could be a URL of any website that admin wants their people to know about. So this is all about see here how you can view a document downloaded from the learning section. And finally, in the reward section, admin can introduce various types of rewards, various types of badges as per their own energy policy. So yeah, this is all about admin and user account of the app. So that's all from my side, Marisol. If you could go back to the presentation. Yeah, that's all from my side. If you have any question, please write us through the chat window. We'll be happy to answer you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Ruchi, very much. So it's back to me for, I think it's the final talk of this morning, or actually into afternoon, depending on where you are. So I'm going to talk about impact analysis. So I just need to request control. So before we start, I'd just like to refresh our memories as to what SPEEDIER was all about and some of the key objectives. So it was to facilitate the uptake of energy audits and implementation of the resulting energy conservation measures for SMEs, to demonstrate the effectiveness of the self-financing mechanism, to enhance the energy culture of SMEs through engagement and capacity building, to demonstrate the SPEEDIER Service as an innovative and effective tool, and to increase the skills of the key market stakeholders. So there are objectives, but the thing we're talking about here is how do we measure how we stacked up against those objectives? And so these are some of the metrics and some of the expected impacts that we have. So we expected that there will be 85 SMEs to take part across 4 pilot regions. We estimated savings of 6.5 gigawatt hours and 941 tons of CO2 per year. We were targeting 0.5 million of private funds to be leveraged, 305 SME staff to be trained, and 50 SPEEDIER experts to be developed and to be trained up across the project. And also another key target or impact was providing a means for member states to meet the EED obligations, and I suppose that's what we're really all about. That's kind of a central target of ours. So measuring the impact. So what, and I suppose maybe my colleague Pádraig O'Reilly could probably talk about this in a bit more detail, but what those guys have done is that what they put like a pro forma spreadsheet together that basically quantifies the impact of any energy conservation measure.
So as you can see here, there's just a detail, there's a description, and the site that has the energy conservation measure installed or implemented, the date of the assessment report, revision date, all that different data. We have the calculations, and then these are if I can use the cursor here down at the bottom, these are the different pieces of data that will allow us to quantify the impact of any energy conservation measure. So it's all about reflecting back on the previous slide. What's the impact of our activities over the past well, it'll be 13 months by the time it's all finished. So cost savings discounted, and so it's all about building that picture and getting the correct data into the right people within Speedier to assess that impact. And this is the second part of the sheet, and a declaration here. So really important is, so this declaration is, one of the key things that we've found and we've looked in the literature is, some energy conservation measures, particularly some of the low-cost ones, which may involve some sort of behavior change. And what tends to happen over time is that the behavior maybe goes back to what it was, or maybe the technology is. But this declaration of impact is declaring that this energy conservation measure wouldn't really have been possible without Speedier, and that it was kind of something committed to by the SME to take forward into the future. And so we have some more this is where we're putting together all the data collected in the previous pro forma sheet, so that we can ascertain what the overall impact of the project is. So, reflecting back on the service implementation itself, when you're a Speedier expert, what we're looking for is that you offer the Speedier service as a service-based approach for your clients, and that's, if you look here in the diagram, this is the first stage of the process, and it's a service rather than a tool or anything else. It's a suite of activities that you can provide for your clients. The next phase is that offer the self-financing, ring fence and reinvest model to your clients. So that's probably one of the key innovations of Speedier, whereby we look to implement the low-cost measures first, ring fence those savings so that we can use them to invest in mid-cost measures, moving around this virtuous circle that we were talking about yesterday, up to higher cost measures. And some of those savings are used to pay for the Speedier expert, and that's where the skin is in the game for the Speedier expert to make it work. Next one is some of the stuff that we've talked about today, using the Speedier EneRgy export support tool for your client. I probably won't go into too much detail, but you have your Speedier experts, you have the energy cost and cost savings, you have the application of the measures, and then we use the EneRgy auditing tool, and then that develops a database for the future building and the best real measures database. So that's what iTech ran. You can also offer the Speedier mobile app, and so the mobile app, as Ruchi has very well explained earlier, it's got the web version and the mobile version. There is the capacity building tool. There is feedback and suggestions on the implementation of the Speedier service and the energy conservation measures. There's quizzes and rewards. So again, more incentives to engage with the Speedier service and to keep that engagement going.
energy monitoring, and then the admin and user account service that Ruchi demonstrated earlier. And as I said, like the engagement and the it's something that's easy to use, relatively easy to use, and different employees within the business may want to use it. And it's part of that building that energy culture and energy saving culture, and thus a CO2 saving culture. Maintaining that awareness will be crucial for maintaining the effectiveness of a lot of the energy conservation measures, and to ensure that there is, that rebound effect is minimized. And finally, we measure the impact of these actions. So measure, as we discussed, as probably some of our colleagues earlier this morning were talking about, the SMEs who gave their stories about their experience of Speedier, measuring baseline energy consumption, measure the energy savings achieved, record the savings that are ring-fenced and reinvested, and then calculate the CO2 emissions saved, which is, the core of what we're all about. And then count the number of SMEs involved, the number of staff involved, and using the data sheet that we were talking about earlier, the data recording spreadsheet, to record all that very useful quantitative, which is very useful to us within the Speedier project as well. And it's very, it's crucial for informing the learning and the reporting that we're doing, because really what we don't want to have at the end of this project is a set of reports that simply sit on the shelf. We want these reports to influence policy, so that whatever regulatory and policy structures that exist to support Speedier are strengthened, and so we can move the whole decarbonisation conversation forward within SMEs and companies. So finally, there's a couple of things here that we just finish off on. We have the benefits for the Speedier experts. Following engagement with the Speedier program, we list you as a Speedier expert on our website. We'll refer SMEs to you if they match your location and experience. We give you access to all the tools and training material we've talked about in the past couple of days, free of charge. And you can develop a Speedier service tailored to your sector and location, because we're very well aware that different markets, one has different experiences within those markets, and have the SMEs who are involved in those markets and who participate in those markets have very different requirements. And also we support your activities through showcasing your successes as case studies on the Speedier website. So that's an important thing to bear in mind as well. And benefits for Speedier trainers. You can train more Speedier experts. You can develop a Speedier service. Again, the Speedier trainers and the Speedier experts are, they'll be in the same location, but also they can develop a Speedier service tailored to your sector and location, and have the same sort of customization benefits that they require. We provide evidence through case studies to drive policy change in your sector and location. You'll be able to contribute to show policymakers how they can meet their Article 8 EED obligations, and this ties back to what we were talking about earlier with respect to this whole impact analysis and quantifying the benefits of the Speedier program. And finally, you have the opportunity to have value for your clients through an alternative business model. So, it can be very easy to get stuck in the existing approaches towards operation of businesses, and I think the Speedier model and the Speedier supports and the Speedier mobile app and the Speedier tool all provide opportunities for business to maybe do different things, and for the Speedier trainers themselves to do something different as well. So following this training, and I thank you all for your participation and your engagement over the past 2 days with respect to this training session. You receive a certificate of attendance to show you've attended the training, and also we'll be sending out an evaluation questionnaire. So after completion of that evaluation questionnaire, you get the Speedier Expert certificate. We'll contact you to see if you'd like to be on the Speedier website so that you can advertise via the Speedier website your newfound skills. And I suppose I'm just asking you as well to please test the tools we have developed and let us know, give us feedback. So, you know, the more feedback we get, the better we can make those tools. And just as a kind of open invitation, please feel free to contact us at any time for more information. So that's the certificate of attendance and the certificate of Speedier Expert. So both of those will be things that will be available to you post this training program. Let me just check now. Yes. So have we more Minty Rocio at this stage?
Yes, we have now Menti.
Okay, I'll just stop my control, yeah?
Finishing.
I think I taking care of the first questions because that's about the tool.
Okay.
So I hope you have time to read the code because it's the same that in the last questions. I agree, can be improved. That's true. Fantastic. Oh, great. No, it's we know it can be improved, but it's a lot of work we have been done, and I think we have tried and it is useful. So to communicate with the SMEs, it's an easy way to communicate, and the data inside it's a good one because it's based on a real good database that we have more than 800,000 elements. So we trying our best, but I'm agree that we have to check it, and if there's some improvement to do, we'll do it. So do you think the functionality copy project will be useful to keep track with the first implementation of measures? We were trying to focus on this functionality to improve the follow-up of the project and to keep ring fencing everything, because we think it's the better way to go through this. We maintain all the information we have done in the first part, so we could try to applying different measures. So well, I think everyone's agree on that. So other one, which improvement would you include in the Speedier tool? There will be a letter to the Santa Claus, I think, but we will try to know what we think we need to improve or to add to this tool, because we will try to maintain and go to another project that could apply the tool to add new countries and provide a manual that has been doing. It's not done yet because it wasn't part of the elements of the project, but we think it's important to have an instruction guide. It has been done. I think in a couple of weeks it will be finished and will upload to the website. More customization, conversation weather projects. That's the ranking. Then comparison we help you with the ranking functionality. Login form reports and list of solution. Okay, so that's a work that has to be done because it's increased the database. I don't know. Okay, until using. Okay, benchmarking between projects. We tried this with the ranking. We have to improve that. Maybe it's okay. Meteorological data. Okay, but you have to enter this data. You have to know how to use it because we use heating and cooling and hours. Okay, we try. More location to be used. Okay, but the project was focused on 4 countries, so that's only what we have to include here. But maybe if there's a follow-up on another project on another place, we could include it. It's not a problem. We have to recollect the data and include that. On solutions. Okay. Okay, that's a good one. Graphical information drawings and solutions. It's a good one. Okay, that's for Ruchi. Please, Ruchi, could you take care?
Yeah, let me request the controller. Okay, so the first question is how useful do you think the Speedier app will be for improving the energy culture within SMEs? So yeah, I think we have tried to capture as many features as we thought we could be that could be utilized through app, and we try to incorporate more features for people to encourage the app to use the app. So yeah, I think not bad, good. Yeah, and okay, so yeah, so I think yeah, people are liking it. So yeah, thank you very much. So can we go for the next question? It's would you consider using Speedier mobile app as capacity building tool for your client? So, yeah, yeah. So do you, in your opinion, do you think this could be useful for offering? This could improve your service offering? Okay. Okay. So I'm glad no one said no. Okay. So we'll go to the next question. So I need your suggestions for improvement of mobile app. What do you think? How can we improve the mobile app? What additional features can be added that will encourage users and speedier export to use the app? Okay. Yeah, we have introduced we have prepared a manual that will be provided with the tool that will be provided with the app. Yeah. Need to be used previously. Okay. Okay. So you think it is not very much user friendly? Video explaining the app steps. Okay. This we can produce a video. Apart from the user manual, we will develop. It's a good
I
suggestion for
always think
us.
Ruchi, videos are very useful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think they're much quicker than user manuals to get to grips with something. You know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, definitely we will introduce a video, but anyhow this video of the training is available in the Speedier website, which for the moment which you can use, and meanwhile we'll try to develop a good video. Okay, so I think the main suggestions is to provide a manual and a video to for explaining the steps to use the app. So yeah, I think that's the last question. And yeah, Porrick, this is for you.
Okay, so I suppose this is a request for feedback on the training itself, and as to what other aspects people would like to see included in the training, So if we could get a few answers for that, I'd probably have to request control again. Okay. Financing, okay. Any more answers? Feel free to say what you'd like to say. Financing. More case studies. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question there. Well, it's something we have to actually think about. Pricing about Speedier itself. It's a question to be answered as we progress through the final stages of the project. Okay. 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 We might leave it there. Is there any more questions coming through? Is there any more questions, guys? Thanks very much for the feedback on that. Financing does seem to be a big factor, and it's coming through all the research as well, and even your feedback here. So that's great. And the pricing with the Speedier itself, I think, is a really important one, maybe in the future to talk about. Okay. Okay. I'm just conscious of the time, so we're at 11:29 now. So we're looking to finish up about 11:30. I suppose I just have a few closing remarks, unless there's anything else that we need to cover off. Yeah. For their participation, especially all the speakers we've had over the past couple of days. I think they've all, you know, put a lot of work into presenting, putting presentations that were interesting and informative. So I hope you all found it useful as well. And thanks for you, the people who are participating today and yesterday, for your attention and your time. And I hope, I sincerely hope that you found it useful. And what I'd also like to say is, you know, as I said, feel free to contact us or give us any further feedback, just so that it'll inform the project itself, and it'll inform the development of the Speedier service into the future. So again, thank you very much, and have a lovely day.